Let's start with the abstract of the study. This is a study about breast cancer treatment. It uses a computer model to check the quality of treatment plans. The model was tested on 104 patients who had surgery to remove breast lumps. Then it was used on 127 patients in a clinical trial. The model checks if the treatment plans are consistent. It does this by comparing the average dose given to different parts of the body. If a plan is not consistent, doctor will review it. The model worked well. It was able to identify plans that needed to be reviewed. This method can help in checking the quality of treatment plans in clinical trials. Now let's look at the introduction part of the study. This paper says clinical trial improve radiation therapy treatment. Quality assurance protocol is vital and non-compliance can lead to poor treatment outcomes. Pre-treatment review of radiotherapy plans is key in QA, but many protocols lack in due to evaluation challenges. In breast radiotherapy, plan review is difficult as many doctors may not delineate target contours. QA requirements also vary based on treatment complexity. This paper suggests an automated pre-treatment plan verification approach for breast radiotherapy. It involves an automated contouring model to evaluate 3D CRT and VMAT plans in clinical trial. This approach doesn't require clinical contours and aims to develop an automatic plan quality review for breast radiotherapy treatment plans. Now let's look at materials and methods. It starts with auto-contouring model. This study analyzed 104 breast cancer patients who had surgery and then radiation. These patients were selected from the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center patient dataset. These patients' planning CT scans were taken without contrast and included both breath hold and pre-breathing scans. The breast radiation oncology group at MD Anderson provided guidelines for manually outlining the breast target structure. 9 radiation oncology residents followed this instruction and outlined the structures. Each resident's outline were reviewed by another to ensure consistency. 2 models were trained with the NNU net deep learning algorithm. One model was for patients with right-sided treatment and the other for left-sided treatment. The models were evaluated using dissimilarity coefficient or DSC and mean surface distance MSD by comparing the automatically generated outlines to manual ones. Additionally, 2 breast radiation oncology attending physicians assessed the models qualitatively using 5-point Likert scale. A contour was considered clinically acceptable if it received a score of 3 or above. Now let's move to the consistency evaluation. The study involved 127 patients from the Sapphire clinical trial who had breast conserving surgery. Some received 3D conformal radiation therapy or 3D CRT and others had volumetric modulated arc therapy or VMAT. Statistical process control was used to assess the performance of a process. Control chart, a common SPC tool, were used to detect errors. An auto-contouring model was applied to all CT scans from the trial to get breast target contours. 4 patients were not analyzed for various reasons, leaving 102 patients given 3D CRT and 21 given VMAT in the final analysis. Control charts were plotted for the 3D CRT and VMAT treated patients separately. The ratio of the mean dose of clinical target volume to the prescribed dose was monitored. 2 doctors reviewed the plans for the outlier points and checked plant variation. Now let's have a look at the results. The auto-contouring model was validated and the mean dissimilarity coefficient between auto-contoured and manual structure was above 0.7 for all structure. The average mean surface distance was below 3 mm. In terms of qualitative assessment, most automated contours for various structures were deemed clinically acceptable by attending physicians. One breast autocontour needed major edits. SPC charts were used to assess the consistency of dose coverage. The control limits were wider for lymph nodes than for the breast, indicating more variability in dose coverage of lymph nodes automated contours between patients. The control limits were different and narrower for VMAT than for 3D CRT. 3 outliers were flagged from the charts. For one plan, the reviewing physicians indicated that they would prefer to have improved coverage of the supraclavicular clinical target volume. The other outliers were poor autocontours. The control limit for breast CTV were then recomputed excluding the falsely flagged points. Two additional outliers were flagged, both representing clinically acceptable planning variation. Now let's see how this paper connects the dot between the result in the discussion section. This study used an auto-contouring model and statistical process controls to check breast target dose coverage consistency in clinical trial. It identified one outlier with increased variability in lymph node dose. Traditional plans showed more variability than BMAT. The auto-contouring tool and SPC provided insight into dose coverage variability. This work automated the labor-intensive pre-treatment QA process, saving time and costs. Automated plan checks improve error detection rate. Zhang and others used automatic segmentation for quality assurance. Deep learning methods outperformed atlas-based segmentation. Vasin and others found that automated contouring of the breast required minimal edits for clinical planning use. SPC provides a streamlined patient-based analysis method. Simoes and others compared the difference in planning target volume coverage for breast using a relative difference for the B95% metric between the dose on the deep learning generated and manual contours. The ACO-SOG Z0011 alliance trial showed that axillary dissection showed no benefit for local control or survival as compared to sentinel node biopsy alone in patients with node positive disease. All of these patients received radiation to the whole breast, leading to speculation that the axilla may have inadvertently received radiation. Jaxi and others retrospectively assessed the chart from this trial. The study utilized a 3D unit algorithm and dice for evaluation. The implementation of an automated contouring model was crucial to mitigate variability in delineating breast fracture. Variation in manual contours can lead to dose distribution variation to this fracture. Therefore, a plan quality metric was selected that is not overly sensitive to these variations on automated contours, with a focus on mean dose for this current study. The future direction of this work involves expanding SPC testing to a larger patient dataset, encompassing patients from other institutions. This expansion will aid in assessing SPC's capacity to detect unacceptable inconsistencies in cases with more variation in clinical practice. In conclusion, the application of an auto-contouring model within a SPC framework has demonstrated success in assessing planning variability and hold potential for identifying inconsistencies in a breast radiotherapy clinical trial.